Davos starts to cough a little bit before getting barreled the fuck over. Blam! Just fucking linebacked into. And this kid's like, yo.
What are you doing here?
Don't stand in front of me when I'm running through, bro. What up, and welcome to another episode of Brotherhood Without Manners, your favorite full-spoiler reread podcast of George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire series. As always, hosted by me, Nate, and my brother, Zach.
Wah!
And we're full spoiler.
I don't know what the fuck that noise was.
That was a weird thing to do.
Here we go. If you joined us before, you know we are full spoiler. This is a warning at the top of the show. We like to talk about everything congruently. If you've never joined us, well, and if you've joined us and know what we're all about, last episode, we were reading Bran 1, Brandon Starkey.
Yeah, his first chapter for Storm of Swords.
Yeah, he's getting some lessons. Well, he's warging a lot.
Yeah, not really lessons from Jojen. Jojen's trying to give him lessons, but Bran's ignoring them, not remembering to do any of the little minor tasks he's told him to accomplish while he wargs into summer.
Nah, he gets lost.
And they made the decision, per Bran, to go north and seek out the Three-Eyed Crow.
Yeah, it was a lot of lore for Three-Eyed Raven and Bran stuff, but pretty simple as far as their overall progress. They were at, a little ancient keep that was run down, and Bran named it Tumbledown Tower. And yeah, Meera laid it out. We can stay here and do nothing, basically. Or we can go to the Karstarks or the Umbers or the Manderleys, or we can go where Jojen wants to go. And Bran decided to take me to see the crow, please. I want to fly.
Yeah.
And so, we're not reading Bran this episode.
No, this episode we're reading Davos 2.
Oh, shit.
Our second point of view chapter of the book. It's Davos.
Last we left Davos, we got that he survived the Battle of Blackwater by swimming under the chain and under the debris in the fiery gate and washing up on one of the spears of the Merlin King. There, he was pretty racked with fever and sickness and dehydration and starvation.
Which, as usual, leads to prophetic dreaming.
Right.
And so he saw some shit, it was wild, and he came to the conclusion that the mother has a quest for him to accomplish.
Melisandre Tucker must die.
You say Melisandre Tucker?
Yeah, like John Tucker must die.
Oh, okay, I get you.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Thanks.
Yeah, making sure that everybody gets your joke. That wasn't very good. And so he sees a ship that approaches, and it scoops him up.
Yeah!
A Lysini ship,
Lysini?
who we learn this chapter is owned by Corain, something crazy as fuck, Salmonella or something like that.
Salmonella?
Yeah. Seth Mentes.
Right.
I wrote
Not
it
that
down.
far off.
Yeah.
So, yes, we open this chapter as Davos came up on deck of Shayala's Dance, as the ship is called. Driftmark was dwindling behind them, while Dragonstone rose out of the sea ahead, and a pale wisp of smoke drifted off the top of the mountain. And Davos thinks that Dragonmont is active this morning, or else Melisandre is burning more poor souls.
Yeah. So the important question here is the person who Shalaya's dance related to Alaya or Chitaya? Shalaya's dance?
No,
I
I think it's indicating where that name
styling
is coming from.
Now, can we get back to the important thing? Dragonmont is restless.
Restless this morning. So, first question of the episode. I don't know why I'm singing that. We don't normally do that.
You do it sometimes.
Sure. Is Mel burning traitors, or is Dragonmont active?
Well, we do find out, as Davos even says he assumes, which I think goes to show his mental state. There's prisoners that were burned. I've got them written down also somewhere, but
right, yeah. They were.
Harburn,
Are
Robert's
they currently?
kids. I'm not sure, because part of me wants to go back to what we said a big statement for Clash of Kings was with magic reemerging in the world. And yeah, perhaps that has something to do with volcanoes stirring, and Dragonmont's actually a volcano, and we're expecting something similar to Old Valyria to occur here with a major explosion that rocks this side of Westeros.
Hell yeah.
But, who knows what's actually going on.
Melisandre had been much in his thoughts across Blackwater Bay and through the gullet. The great fire atop the watchtower at Sharp Point reminded him of the ruby she wore at her throat. And when the world turned red at dawn and sunset, the clouds turn the same color as the silks and satins of her gown.
Yeah.
This motherfucker's seeing her everywhere. If you've, spoiler alert, if you've played The Last of Us Part 2, very similar tale of revenge and how it consumes you. It becomes everything. He's seeing her in the morning dawn, in the end of day sunset.
So that was something we had broached upon earlier, not on the microphone. And it was that we learned from Melisandre's point of view chapter that she's not necessarily evil, misunderstood, misguided because of her inclination to misread the fortunes and prophecies that she's seeing in the fires.
Yeah.
But not evil. She is almost in a way I had mentioned similar to Varys, in that at this moment it appears as though she's out for the good of the people and saving the world, and what she interprets is incorrect, but she's not out to do anybody harm that she doesn't think is actually for the good. And while she has extreme methods about her, everybody has their flaws. Davos really villainizes her here and makes her out to be this terrible, terrible person who deserves to die. He says that he's going to cut out her living heart.
Fuck yeah.
What?
She would be waiting on Dragonstone as well, waiting in all her beauty and all her power, with her god and her shadows and his king. I love that line.
Yeah, so this is when we get the description of who saved him, which was Corrine, like I said.
Well, he just thinks that she had broken Stannis as a man breaks a horse, and she would ride him to power if she could. And to do so, she gave my sons to the flames.
And that's where he's twisting it.
Yep.
She is not trying to,
right.
She doesn't want to ascend to power.
She could have prevented possibly the Battle of Blackwater and what happened there had she been
better at reading the prophecy,
or
in
included
the fire.
Or brought along, whatever it was. Yeah, it
but
may have
yeah,
benefited.
she in no way wants to utilize Stannis for personal power and gain, as far as we're aware at the moment.
Yeah. So Corraine, and this is where we learned that it was Corraine Santamines who had saved him and been very kind to Davos once he had learned that the man he plucked from the sea was the celebrated Onion Knight. Well, he gave him use of his own cabin, which there's a lot of that happening with people getting gifted cabins. Some fine clothes of the captain's own, and a dirk, a beautiful dirk.
Along with some boots.
Yeah.
Some boots.
He insisted that Davos share his food as well, which ended badly because Davos is unaccustomed to such rich foods.
Especially right now when he's been sitting at the
he hasn't
sea,
eaten much.
Because I feel like this is the kind of stuff that would unsettle his stomach normally. Right now,
Well,
but
right.
Then
he needs to just realign his normal levels of shit.
Yeah,
he's still recovering, and so he ended up spending the rest of the day with one end or the other dangling over the railing, and he's watching Dragonstone as it looms closer, and he's leaning on the rails because
noting
he's
the gargoyle.
Noting the gargoyle.
Yeah.
He's still. His legs are shaky, so he's thankful to have the rail to lean on.
Yeah, man, that's what happens when you get corona.
And sometimes he falls prey to uncontrollable coughing, which brought up globs of bloody phlegm. So yeah, Davos he's still roughing it. And he thinks that once, as the ship begins to start beginning its ascent into Dragonstone, he begins thinking how once the sound of the Oarmaster's drums used to fill him with a fear. Such a fear, because that meant someone was chasing him. And now it's heralding him to the home that he had before all the shit hit the fan.
Yeah. I think it's cool because he's going to reminisce a lot, and he does throughout here, about his old smuggling days right before meeting Salladhor Saan.
Yeah, I marked this specifically because he just thinks it was a different time, and he was a different Davos.
A different person.
And we kind of emphasized heavily that he changed when he came out of the sea. On the Meera, oh my God, Spear King, Merlin King Spear. Yeah, that. I don't know why that was so hard.
The Rock
for me.
in the Sea.
And now Davos is acknowledging it. He's a completely different person. He's claiming.
Yeah. So Corraine at this point, it kind of flashes to him explaining Renly's shade appearing and assisting the Lannisters in their victory.
Yeah, the end of the Battle of Blackwater.
Yeah. Davos is immediately like, what if my sons return as shades?
Yeah.
I don't think it... Well, first of all, it wasn't a shade. Like, we know that.
Right.
But second of all, like, that's not how it works as far as I know. Like,
well, Davos thinks that he's seen too much at sea to deny that ghosts don't exist.
And so this is where I really want to point out the unreliable narrator stuff here, because A, we're getting that from Corraine, that rumor that's, says that it's been said among the troops and the other captains, pirates, that it's Renly's Shade that did this. Yeah. And he's like, oh, fuck, it is Renly's Shade, and my sons are going to be Shades, and we're fucked. We're all fucked. I got to kill Melisandre. She's bad.
Right.
That's not the case. She had nothing to do with that. It's your own guilt making you think that had something to do with that part, but...
I mean, I think it also shows that Davos isn't really that concerned about Renly's death.
Right,
and all that circumstance, because it's... I mean, yeah, he's like, okay, Renly's dead, but, like, will my sons become Shades, too?
No,
like,
fuck
it's not,
Renly,
it's not like, oh, man, he rose again, like, because, I mean, the captain was selling it. He's like, yeah, Renly was fucking slaying motherfuckers left and right, like, people were afraid of this guy, and Davos is like, yeah, my sons could be Shades, too.
And then he asks who of the men that were there at the end of the battle remained loyal.
Did anyone keep faith?
And unfortunately,
it was Queensmen.
Almost all Queensmen did.
Yes, it was.
As well as him informing him that Axel Florent's now the Hand of the King. Yeah. And he doesn't mention yet that he was self-proclaimed. But...
Yeah, no, we'll get to that bit. They enter the harbor, and Davos remembers how full it was when they left. How Stannis had forbidden any ships to be leaving and kind of garrisoned them all. And now it's empty. It is It's showing Davos has lost both his own and his cause, and it's a great mirror. Dragonstone is hollow now, and he sees Salladhor Saan's Valyrian is moored, and looks in vain for any sign of Lady Meera or Wraith, which his sons were on, and no, they are not there.
But the
captain comes up.
Yeah, he comes up and wants to take him we must go see my prince. And Davos is like, no, I need to see the king first. And he's like, nobody sees the king. You need to go see Salladhor first, and then you can
he'll explain
see what
it.
happens.
Yeah. Davos is too weak to defy him, so... And Salladhor Saan is not aboard his Valyrian, but is a few quays down in the hold of a Pentoshi ship. Bountiful Harvest. And
he's down in the cargo with a couple of eunuchs. And as soon as he sees Davos, he loses his fucking mind. Oh, is it the pepper or these tears? My friend Davos died. Why does his ghost haunt me? I didn't actually write down that quote.
I ain't afraid of no ghost, Sala. Well, Davos says that he's not no ghost. I ain't no ghost.
Yeah.
And Salladhor comes up and hugs him, asking if it's possible that the sea has swallowed you up, has now spit you back out. And
he says, you are still warm, and I feel your heart thumpity-thumping. And I liked it, thumpity-thumping.
Davos is reminded of Patchface here. When the sea spit him back out, he came back mad. Am I mad as well?
So we had a long discussion about Patchface today, and we'll get a bit more into it later.
We will.
And how I no longer really think that he's necessarily working for the Drowned Gods.
Is Davos mad?
I think he convinced himself of some new convictions while he was affected by fever. I don't think he's mad. I think
You don't think his revenge kick to kill Melisandre isn't madness, isn't absolute stupidity?
I think it's a revenge stupid thing to be doing. He should think it through clearly and see how much...
So he is mad. He did come back mad.
I mean, I guess if you want to call it mad, I don't think it's that he's mad. I think he's vengeful, and you don't have to be necessarily mad to be vengeful.
I think what's making him mad is ignoring all the evidence he's about to be presented and told. And he still wants to go through with it. Salladhor Saan tells him Stannis is fucked up after Blackwater. He's not seeing anyone. He's not eating. Things are different. And he's not seeing anyone. We'll get into it, but I just wanted to ask that: do you actually think he's crazy now a little bit because of this? And to me, ignoring, there was a meme about it that I read out the other night. That was, if you're ignoring evidence and data, you don't get to disagree. You're just choosing to ignore the evidence. And that's what Davos does in this chapter.
Yeah, and I think it's grief-stricken.
Oh, absolutely.
But is also a bit of blissful ignorance. Like, he's not crazy by any means. He's not
a mourning parent.
He's mourning parent.
He's not Patchface.
He's blinded to the reality. He's choosing to ignore, and not necessarily choosing, I suppose,
choosing to accept,
ignoring the facts that are there that would negate his only person to actually put the blame on.
Right.
Because who else does he blame for the battle being lost and his sons happening to be in the losing side of the battle? Like, you can try to put it on Melisandre, but she was chilling at the castle.
Right.
Like, go
it's
fuck
not
off.
going to be Stannis. He's not going to blame Stannis.
Right.
And yeah, I like that. Salah says that he's got to reward Captain Corhane for finding Davos, and he says that Davos should go wait for him in the captain's office, and he orders some wine with cloves in it for Davos's cough, because he doesn't like the sound of it.
And cheese and olives.
And
but you best save me some of the olives, or so help me.
You'll make me be cross with you.
You mother.
And
that's kind of funny that he says that with how the whole meeting ends.
Oh,
with
yeah.
him being pissed.
And he says he'll join him soon. So Davos is brought there, given his wine, and sips it gratefully, just liking the warmth, and the cloves are helping clear some stuff up. And Salah arrives apologizing, and he asks how Davos is enjoying Illyrio Mopatis's chairs.
Yes.
Okay. Hold the fucking phone.
So here's a few things. A few things here. Is this somebody contacting Varys for Illyrio? Is that why this ship was in the area? Is this just somebody that happens, if it's one of his, you'd think there's some kind of messages. But more importantly, I think of noting here is Illyrio's got to be getting increasingly pissed at the fact that he is losing ships like crazy. He had Dany take off with 3 of them. There's at least this one here. How many more of the other ones has Salladhor seized?
Well, it's interesting because Salladhor says that basically he's too fat to go anywhere, so he doesn't use these ships.
But why are there chairs?
Well, right. But my thinking is maybe this ship in particular is in a loss. And maybe Salladhor Saan is doing exactly what Illyrio Mopatis gave him the ship to do, and is just being at Dragonstone, listening, learning, observing, figuring out what's up with Mel and Stannis, keeping his distance, not getting too involved.
And so potentially,
I think Salladhor Saan is working with Illyrio and Varys. I absolutely, yes. Why would he not? He was gifted this ship that clearly is well made and suited for Illyrio himself. These chairs are wider base because he's fat. Haha, we get it. But yeah, this is his, like, a comfort barge thing, so he can get across the sea in comfort. He doesn't do that anymore, probably because he's got his players set. Varys is the one that can diddy-bop around if needed.
Yeah.
He's got Salladhor Saan, Lysini pirate. Like, I definitely think there is some gold on the sly for some solid information app. Absolutely. And it was cool because I've never picked up on that before. Yeah. But Davos asks how it is that he came by this ship, and he kind of jests, saying, "Did you become a pirate again?" And Salladhor Saan's like, "No, fuck those pirates.
I have been named.
I've
been named Lord of the Blackwater Bay."
Yeah, you suck.
I bet you go ahead. You do it. I butchered it.
He says, "I am owed a lot of gold, yes, but I am not without reason. So in place of coin, I have taken a handsome parchment, bearing the name and seal of Lord Aster Florent, Hand of the King. I am made Lord of Blackwall."
You said Aster?
Alistair, yeah.
Alistair, I thought it was Axel Florent.
Axel Florent isn't Hand. He's
that's the uncle.
The guy that comes to arrest him.
Yeah.
Alistair Florent is Hand.
Right.
I am made Lord of Blackwater Bay, and no vessel may cross my lordly waters without my lordly consent. And if these outlaws evade capture, then they are no better than smugglers, and I am well in my right to seize them. And Salah says, at this point, he just starts fussing over Davos. "You don't look well, you look thin, and your finger bag is missing. Where's your bag of bones?
Where's your finger bags?" And he's like, "It was lost in the river." And then has the afterthought of, my luck. My luck. Aww.
He asks if no other ships escaped. And Salah says that some didn't burn, but were trapped by the chain. Some surrendered. Most rowed further up the Blackwater, and were then sunk by their crews so they wouldn't fall into the Lannister hands. But of Lady Marya and Wraith, there is nothing. They burned. Sala says that Dale and Allard were great men, but Devon is alive. The loyal, brave boy never left the king's side. And so he's basically saying there's still hope. Don't despair. Like, you didn't lose everything.
You still have one more kid and a wife.
And Davos is hit with a dizzy spell of relief hearing that. He didn't dare ask after Devon because it was just too much to bear.
And he says he needs to go see him now, like
so
right away.
Like, yes, you do. But then you will want to be sailing to Cape Wrath to see the lady wife of yours and your 2 little ones. You'll need a new ship.
I'll get one for Stannis.
Stanny.
And he's like, dude, you're not getting it, kid.
Like, you got no ships.
I'm the only one that's got ships around here, bro. But of course one would be gifted to you, oh Onion Knight.
And then he drops the Zarzo and Doxus offer.
Yeah, dude.
Come with me, and we'll fatten our purses, and we'll be just sick-ass, badass bro smugglers.
Yeah, dude. So he wants to talk Davos into foregoing. Because Davos hasn't even mentioned his Melisandre quest just yet. To Sally here, and Salladhor Saan is just like, please, let's go back to our old ways, man.
Let's just fuck off and get out of here with this king bullshit.
Do what we used to do and just whatever. Like, peace.
So you had actually mentioned it that you were reminded of Zaro with Salladhor Saan a little bit.
With a lot of different things.
Let's just fucking dip.
As well as how emotional he is, and it's showing off that Lysini personality trait that we've come to know. But
you think his is genuine?
I do. I think that they're friends, and he cares about him to an extent.
I
agree, think that
I think he's practical. Yeah,
also a little showy, but this is his way of expressing that.
But Davos tells him that his duty is to Stannis. The war continues on, and so they're going to have to keep pushing. And Sala tells him, you will be finding your king changed. Since the battle, he sees no one and broods in his stone drum. Selyse keeps court with Lord Alistair, who named himself Hand. Selyse gave him the king's seal to fix to his parchments and decrees, but it is a small kingdom with no gold to pay Salladhor Saan what he is owed. And Davos asks that, what do you mean? Stannis sees no one. No one but her. And Davos is like, yeah, fucking course. I knew it. I knew it.
There she
is. And
Sally has a little... He reveals some rumors that are going around about Dragonstone and what those two are doing up there in the... And it's not just fucking like you'd think.
No, the guards keep everyone away, even Selyse and his daughter. The servants bring meals that go uneaten. And rumors say that there are hungry fires within the mountain, and her and Stannis go and watch the flames via secret tunnels and stairs and passageways, and that some of these shafts are so hot, only Melisandre can walk them unburnt.
Unburnt. What was that word you just said?
Daenerys Targaryen?
Yeah, so... have we actually seen Melisandre walk through fire yet? I mean, I get we've seen her birth a shadow beast twice, once,
we haven't. But we've watched her drink poison and birth a shadow beast and set motherfuckers on fire.
Okay, so what would she be in there looking? Is that just a more clear, vivid vision?
I got to imagine it's like the werewood equivalent of the Red God, whatever she's doing.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah, like there's some
so
core
do you think that Dany is like the Bran of that, where she can walk into that fire untouched by the heart
I think
of the mountain?
Dany would like have a fucking field day in there. Yeah, that's her home birthright, whole nonsense. Like, yeah, I think.
So here's my thing then. Do you think that she's gonna be like that? That's the sword that's Azor Ahai is Dragonmont, and she has to go in and do some crazy shit in there to make it explode like a volcano to defeat the others.
I would not be surprised if there is a dragon in the Dragonmont.
That would make sense.
And that Dany needs to go in and do something, or go in and have some connection with ancestry, or
sacrifice something, do some blood magic.
But I feel as though the Dragonmont is monumentally significant and not really. It's kind of glossed over, and this feels significant. Melisandre's going and taking Stannis in there to stare at...
Well, it's rumored.
Well, rumored, but some hungry flame, and I mean, they're going to the fucking fire temple from the Legend of Zelda to
if it's real.
if it's real. They are. I love it. They are. It's real. It has to be.
Yeah,
it's
but
real to me,
Roose
damn
Bolton
it.
can't be a vampire, but these are guaranteed 100%. I guess they've never actually hinted at vampires in the story, like they mentioned these being rumored within the world.
Yeah, don't start with me.
Okay.
The Red Woman did this to him. She sent the fires to consume us, punishing Stannis for setting her aside, teaching him that he has no hopes without her sorcery. So again, it's her fault. All her fault. Not even the Lannisters who fucking blew them up. It's Melisandre.
And this much he tells Salladhor
he
Saan,
says
it's her fault. Fuck her. I blame her. And he's like, you're not the first person to blame her for being an evil witch. However, you should lower your voice a little bit.
Keep it on the DL, my boy.
Don't be shouting that shit out, dude. Don't be blasting people.
Dragonstone crawls with Queen's men, with sharp ears and sharper knives.
I've got a knife as well. And he takes his little knifey that Corrine gave him, and he slams that on the table, and he's like, and I intend to use it to cut her fucking heart out of her chest.
If she has one.
Yeah, that did say that in there, huh? If she has one. That's pretty cool.
And Salah's like, yeah, you shouldn't jest like that, dude. And he's like, yeah, no joke. I'm going to kill her.
So here's the thing I have to ask. Is it Salladhor Saan that tells on Davos? Or somebody listening close by because he's shouting this shit like he is?
I think she sees it in the flames.
Oh, you do?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I absolutely do.
All right.
I think Melisandre is tied into something here and is thriving in it. And I don't think Stannis losing at the Blackwater fucking did her any favors. But she was still torching motherfuckers, having a grand old time while they were on the Blackwater.
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah, I feel like she's tapping into something here. And, yeah, I feel like she easily saw him. Like, it's a direct threat to her person. So why would she not be? I mean, she somehow, I don't know if it's inherent if she saw it, but, right, Craster. Like, she said... Crescent. She inherently says in she says in Dance with Dragons that most of what she does is tomfoolery. Right. So if she saw Crescent going to poison her, she could have just taken an antidote and then been all mysterious. I'm just going to drink it because, fire cleanses.
Right,
but really, I just took a counter agent. I think it's that kind of stuff. And yeah, I think she's on to some shit here. Shit. And he thinks that if she can even be killed by mortal weapons, because he had saw Crescent poison her, and she drank it, and yet Crescent's dead, and she's not. But a knife through the heart ought to do it. And Salah's like, yeah, you're still sick, dude. Like, the fever's cooked your wits. You need to just chill out. We got to get you well. And Davos is like, no, I need to get to the castle.
I got to do it now because Salladhor Saan is killing his resolve.
Yeah. And Salladhor Saan said that while the Blackwater was burning, Melisandre was burning traitors. Servants of the Dark, she named them. And Davos is like, yeah, I kind of already figured that.
And so that was Lord Sunglass and Hubbard what the fuck is that? Rambert? Yeah, Hubbard Rambert.
It made me think of
kids.
Rembrandt when I read it.
Okay, yeah, sure. This is when Davos is like, the mother spoke to me. I'm talking to the gods. And he's like, your mom's dead, bro.
Your mom is dead.
Like, I'm sorry, but like, you need to move past that. And he's like, no, you don't understand. The mother, of the seven, like, she came to me and was like, hey, go kill Melisandre. She said it, dude, so now I have to.
Yeah, and I like, Salladhor lays it out. He goes, okay, you go on this mission, you do it. All is good. You kill her. They burn you anyway because you killed her. You fail, she sees it coming, you burn. Either way, you die screaming. And you just came back, dude. We just got you back.
All right, so once again, an interjection. We know that he goes here with the intent to kill. And we also know that he is caught, even at the end of this chapter, for having that intent to kill her with that knife. For this plan, he does not burn. He goes in there specifically, and we know he lives. He does all these things, and yet still somehow manages to not get burned at the stake. Does he have divine influence? Is there something going on with the mother that he's got, like, how the fuck is it that he's man? Is it just because he's the only decent person making decisions?
Yeah, I think it's because of his honor. And I think that's exactly what Melisandre sees when she decides, no, Stannis needs him. He needs someone that isn't me, that is a lord that's recognized, that is going to tell him true and not bullshit him. And I think absolutely it is begrudgingly. I mean, I think Melisandre may not feel anything for Davos at all, but I think
she understands that there is a relationship. Yeah, he's going to be crucial
to Stannis. Yeah, he's and even I think
it's
keeping
his bro.
Right, I think kind of keeping Stannis' spirits up is also sort of the motivation for it. But he tells, he says, the mother, we just got you back. You just came back to life. And Davos says, and this is the reason why, to end Melisandre. The mother spoke to me. Melisandre brought the fire. She killed Cresson and Renly, Courtney Penrose, and my sons. It is time someone killed her.
So here, this man, he put his sons on the same list as Renly, Courtney Penrose, like,
not Stannis.
But those are like way more like direct. Like, she specifically obviously had an effect on Renly dying.
Right.
She specifically had an effect on Courtney Penrose.
Right. He's equating it, yeah.
Like, again, I just feel like
she didn't shoot the arrow at the ship, dude, and blow up the fucking...
And they went to battle. Like, that's what it happens.
Yeah,
battle. It sucks that he was on that side.
He came back a little mad. Like,
and shit, man, Davos, like, ease up, homie.
So Salladhor gets a little strict here and says, you're weak and no warrior. Let us go. We will sail to Bravos, and let us hire a faceless man to do this thing. Nice drop there, George.
So, and again, I think it's that temptation by Salladhor Saan, like, just leave this behind.
No, let's just go.
Don't worry about that. We'll go see your wife, like, and then we'll head to Bravos. We'll hire somebody to come and kill the stupid bitch, and we'll be like, "What's up, Devin? Like, remember, Dad? He's back! Yay!"
Yeah, Davos thinks that he's making this much harder than it needs to be.
Oh, also, like you said, nice drop on the faceless man. Once again, introducing that subtly.
That's subtle. Yep. We'll start hearing more and more. Yeah. And Davos tells Sala to just let me go. Like, let me do what I gotta do. And Salladhor comes back with, when you are dead, who is bringing your ashes and bones to your lady wife, telling her she's lost a husband and 4 sons?
Fuck.
Sad old Salladhor Saan. So be it. Run to your death. I'll gather your bones in a bag that your sons may wear them around their necks as you did. Go. Go. And Davos went.
Yeah, dude, poor Davos.
Yeah, he does think that he doesn't want to leave like this.
And he's like, go. I mean, better if you stay, but go if you're going to.
And Davos goes. He chooses.
Because he knows that there's nothing he can say to ease this.
Which, if you've played it, that was sort of the Last of Us 2 reference, was the choice that Davos makes there. Is he had an out. He could have gone and seen his wife and seen his kids, but instead, he chose Stannis. And not Stannis, but Mel. He chose this hatred for Melisandre because I think of his attachment to his king. And we're getting quite a deep dive in Davos' little psyche here.
Yeah, so as he makes his way up to the castle, he does note how fucking thousands left for Blackwater Bay, and only hundreds came back. Yep. This place is a ghost town.
Streets are empty, the windows shuttered, bars are doored. Doors are barred.
Bars are doored too, dude. That happens sometimes. So I do like to remember back in, I think it was Davos 1 of Clash of Kings, where he went down and saw Salladhor Saan in the little tavern, the little bar inside this little harbor village, and how bustling it was. And he patted a specific gargoyle on the head that was just outside the bar, and how busy the streets were. And he does mention there's not children playing, and instead of like dogs and children bumping into him, it's fucking rats.
Yep. Right. It's this shift of Dragonstone. It reflects the hollowness that is surrounding this entire group here. Stannis, Davos, this empty, and even, Catelyn. But he also notes that more than half of the houses have some sort of mark of mourning. This isn't just him, and this is the first time that he kind of comes out of himself, and it was like, holy shit, like, it's not just my sons, it's everybody's sons. Everybody, and he thinks, he prays to the mother for mercy for them all, and then arrives at the gate and starts just pounding on it because it's closed until the guard pokes his head up top. Davos announces himself, first asking for Stannis, and when he's like, yeah, no, that ain't happening, he asks for Devon the Squire.
So, and I realized how much of a direct ripoff this scene is, basically, for what they do with Arya in the show at the end of the series.
Yeah.
George did it with fucking Davos so early on.
Davos tries to name drop, but every guard he names died on the Blackwater. But eventually the guard tells him to just wait and disappears. And
So, look how fast that occurred. Like
the shifting guard.
The shifting
Davos
guard,
knows no one.
And not knowing any people. So imagine in the time that will pass when Arya eventually returns to Westeros and goes to Winterfell, if like Sansa was in charge, her saying I don't think she'd be dumb enough to be like, go fetch this person.
Oh no, Arya would be
she'd
sneaking
be like,
right in.
There's nobody here that's
Arya would be
know.
slipping in. She wouldn't be telling anybody.
But anyway, back to...
So yeah, Davos is ushered through a sally port by guards he doesn't recognize wearing sigils of House Florent.
The fox and the flower.
They took him not to the Stone Drum, but to Aegon's garden.
Egg!
And it's here that Davos is told to wait.
I dreamt I was old.
And he's wondering why it is he was brought here when he begins to hear bells.
Bells and giggling.
And out of the bushes bursts Patchface. And then hot on his heels is Shireen.
He jerks to a stop.
Ugh.
So again, I want to obviously point out that Martin always tends to utilize those words jerk and twitch and stutter and all that kind of like weird type of movement. That's just a
Seeing
specific
Davos,
type.
Patchface jerk to a stop, as you said, and with his antlers ring-ting-a-tinging says, "Fool's blood, king's blood, blood on the maiden's thigh, but chains for the guest and chains for the bridegroom. I. And then he's gone. He takes off.
Yeah.
Shireen after him, and Davos smiles warmly.
So it's so well done by George Martin here on so many different levels. Because A, what the fuck, Patchface?
Right.
Put that behind us for a second,
Yep.
though. Davos just smiled after the Red Wedding was prophesized.
Yes.
And so to flip the script on us, where here's the most dark moment you've ever encountered in this series to date. Hasn't happened yet, but this is it. But Davos is smiling at that moment.
Yeah.
To just completely turn it. Like, what the fuck does that... What the fuck?
So, my questions are, is this prophetic... Because fight me if you don't think it's prophetic. Is this prophetic verse by Patchface directed at Davos, caused by him seeing Davos? That's my first question. He jumps out of the bushes. I can only assume they weren't expecting Davos to be there.
So you posed this question to me earlier,
yeah.
Which is good because it gave me time to think about it, and I don't think so. I think anybody there would have caused this response because, A, I don't see any ties myself to Davos in that moment, nor does it really. I think it's just an outlet, and I think that's the fun with Patchface, is because he lost his memories, because he's that half-wit, his prophecies are just fucking shotgunned out at random, where all of a sudden, like, here's Davos, next time Melisandre comes walking in, and he reveals a prophecy, and she's like, fuck, that's actually a prophecy, yo, I don't know what it means, but fucking that's nasty business, mounds of skulls and death, and like...
Yeah, it's...
Do you think differently? Do you think it's targeted towards Davos?
No, maybe. Well, you said you don't see why it would be. What connection? I mean, where is Davos right now? He's going to get a fucking Stark on Skagos. Maybe he's returning it to Lady Catelyn. Like, I think
quite a ways away, but I suppose that's a valid point.
But
yeah.
so is, Jon Snow being revealed as a Targaryen.
But just that to tie him, I mean, the Red Wedding, you think that little bit, I mean, that would be a bit of a reach.
It's obviously, it's meant to be, but you said Davos is smiling. It's sort of twist. You were analyzing.
So
from
that's
that
like
look.
the positive out of all that. Like,
I mean,
you will eventually be able to help this situation that like this.
Well, right.
evil,
It's
terrible...
so. I mean, Davos isn't paying attention to the
the
it's
rhymes.
not, that doesn't hit him. He's just smiling at the innocence of these
Shireen playing with the fool
right.
and having a good
so
time as a girl.
I think when we're viewing it from the outsider's perspective, it could be seen as, yeah, this is coming to Davos because he's going to be dealing with one of the people that's devastated by this prophecy. It's Rickon, his mother and older brother, his king, his fucking noble, lordly brother that he should be following and learning from and learning the reins from to take over his own keep and castle someday.
Right.
Is killed. And so, yeah, absolutely, I think that there could be some argument made, and obviously we won't know till Winds or Beyond, that
Sure.
this was a significant moment to tie Davos to the Starks.
Yeah, so
Via
anyway,
Patchface,
as soon as he finishes that, Shireen is almost about to catch him, and he bounds away.
Yeah.
Gone, and she runs right after him. And Davos starts to cough a little bit before getting barreled the fuck over. Blam! Just fucking linebacked into. And this kid's like, yo.
What are you doing here?
Don't stand in front of me when I'm running through, bro. Like, it says Davos agrees.
Yeah,
Davos says, like, no, you're right.
Coughing, getting to his knees. He's like, yeah, no, clearly you're right about that.
Don't stand in front of you when you're running. And
but
he's like...
as Davos starts coughing, the boy asks, are you unwell? Should I fetch the maester? And Davos is like, no, it'll pass. It's just a fit. And the boy says, we were playing Monsters and Maidens. I was the monster. So we, again, talked about this a little bit earlier.
Why the fuck, then, if he's the monster, that means that he's playing with his cousin, Shireen. He's chasing her. Shireen is chasing Patchface. Mm-hmm. Is that how the game works? Like, you turn somebody into the monster, and then they both, and Patchface just hasn't been caught yet? Why the fuck is that happening that way if he's the monster?
Well, right, we would be assuming Shireen is the maiden, I would guess.
Well, I suppose that's a little sexist to assume that she's going to play the maiden
sexist,
always.
Absolutely. That's the
Monsters
whole point
and Maidens,
of me
though.
saying that.
Well, because the game is Monsters and Maidens, so it's probably one person gets to be the monster and chase the maidens.
Right.
So
why wouldn't Edric Storm, this proud Renly Robert-esque child, not make the girl play the maiden? I mean, yes, it's sexist, but that's the world we live in.
No, and that makes sense.
And so why is
like
Patchface leading?
Well, he's running away from Shireen.
Right, that's
and so it makes me think that Shireen has been, once the monster catches you, you become a monster also. And so they're both now trying to catch Patchface. But I guess that could be way off. But, like, yeah, because we were confused about why was Shireen...
Technically, Patchface is a maiden, I would imagine, unless he was laid before he came over. But
Possible,
he was a boy.
But,
and so, you could look at it that way. But, yeah, no, I would have to believe that Shireen's the maiden, so it should be Patchface and her. But I think... You know my theory is that eventually Patchface will be carrying Shireen away under the waves.
Not being burned? You don't think she's going to be burned?
I don't, no. Not at all, because Stannis is my boy. Don't even laugh at that, boy. We are deadly serious. When we talk about Shireen being burned, no.
Stannis will kill.
No, I hate it.
It's going to be cool.
I hate it. But, no, I think this could be a subtle... Shireen is following him. He, even though the game is Monsters and Maidens, it's still Patchface leading her away. And fucking A, anytime he appears on screen.
So he announces who he is. He's, I'm Edric Storm. My father was the king. And he's like, of course you are. I know that. That's, he comments
obvious. That Davos doesn't look very knightly, but he does know of the Onion Knight who saved his uncle Stannis.
And then, learns of, the fingers being chopped off. And he's like, my father wouldn't have done that. Uncle Stannis shouldn't have done that shit. Yep. Shit's fucking messed up, dude.
Robert taught him to fight and visited him almost every year and even got him a little mini warhammer similar to Robert's. And, yeah, I think it's interesting that he says that Robert wouldn't have done that to you. Fuck Stannis, kind of.
Well, it's funny that he talks about him as if he knows him so well. I think that Edric Storm has a fair idea of who Robert Baratheon was pre-Battle of Rhaegar, pre the fight 16 years ago. Because I think that he would show up, and for this 1 or 2 days that he's there with Edric, for his birthday and shit, he'd put on that I'm King Robert Baratheon,
Well,
the fighter
absolutely.
of Rhaegar. Let's go train in the battlefield. And so that's all Edric saw. He never saw that drunken
Well, that's why
slob.
it's absolutely heartbreaking. He got to see his father maybe once a year.
Right.
And, like, I don't think he knows a goddamn thing about it. Like,
Right, just the stories
the
and
image,
legend.
Yeah, that's stupid bullshit, and it's heartbreaking to learn of that.
And Davos even thinks that. He's like, he reminds me of both Robert and Renly in the way that he's just... I think
I
it's...
love it. It makes him anxious.
Yeah, he just worries, because those two are both the dead ones, first of all.
Right. Is that why he's worried immediately? Is he's going to be a target?
I think partially, yeah.
Are we already getting the Edric Storm conspiracy
absolutely.
Here?
I think he's, because of the hatred towards Melisandre.
The King's blood.
Yeah, it's all there. He's building this little, like, I already am growing attached to
he's
these
just
guys.
added, like, more stuff on the list. Like, for
Mel fucked
Melisandre,
this, and
Edric
she
Storm is now on there.
Yeah.
Like, I gotta protect him as well, type thing. Yeah, I definitely see him already adjusting his alignment on Edric Storm to make it so that, like, oh, yeah, this kid being here, that might not be good for him.
So with that, some Florents arrive.
Your favorite, Sir Axel, shows up. With a dozen guards, Queen's men, Davos notes immediately. And Sir Axel had always treated Davos courteously enough, knowing that he enjoyed Stannis' favor. But there's no warmth in his voice as he says, Sir Davos, and undrowned. How can that be? And Davos says, Onions float, sir. Have you come to take me to see my king?
No. Arrest him. Take his dagger. He means to use it on our lady.
Dirk and Dagger.
Dirk and Dagger.
Just the Dirk.
That's a good name for an inn or a tavern.
It is. And that's the end of Davos 2. Davos is being thrown into a fucking cell.
So
after being in, like, a purgatory of hell anyway.
And you think that Melisandre saw it in the flames, that's why he's being arrested here? You don't think it has anything to do with Salladhor Saan and being told about that?
I don't think Salladhor Saan betrayed him, no.
You don't think there was somebody listening outside of that room?
I think that's
more
what we're
likely,
meant to think is the red herring of, Dragonstone is now King's Landing.
Right,
Views are everywhere.
But
no, this one is Mel fucking seeing it in the flames. Right. And if not, it's Melisandre has the explanation. And it could be not magically inclined. But I feel like she has it, and if it's not magically inclined, it was meant to look magically inclined.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think it was a little more complicated than, definitely not Sala. I don't think it was Salladhor Saan at all.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong. It could be, and that
Who
would
the fuck
devastate
knows?
me.
Who knows?
But let's get to our small council.
Yeah,
so
we have a
can
lot
get
of inductees
and get that shit
Get
going.
the socials. We'll see them over there. Cool. What a small council time it is to meet in this place that we are in.
Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the small council, I suppose is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
What are you doing over there?
I'm pulling up inductees as I just think of that dark Davos chapter. He's heading to a dark place, man. Literally, dungeons, they're dark.
Yeah, dude, they are. Do you have your own inductee?
Yeah, mine's Stannis, because I guess it would be more Mel. I'll give it to Mel, because it's the darkness that's now over Dragonstone is palpable. The idea of these two descending into this mountain, this Dragonmont, and staring at some hungry flame, as it's described, is one hell of an image in my head first, and I love it. I love this darkness surrounding Stannis, and hoping that Stannis is the man I believe him to be, to fight through it, and
Nice.
Davos believes him to be, and it's just such a shitty homecoming for Davos, and that's mainly either inadvertently or intentionally directly caused by Melisandre. And whether it's Davos' own doing in his head or Melisandre's actually kind of got this shroud of darkness.
Well, actually, can I just say there, in her defense, if he wasn't thinking of taking these actions, she wouldn't see them in the fire and have to
he wouldn't be arrested. He would have been welcomed home.
But, I mean, that's always the if they didn't and they didn't, but,
So, yeah, Melisandre.
Wonderful. Cool. I like that. I'm giving mine to the lovely Princess Shireen.
Hell yeah.
Because, oh man, well, where to start with this fucking girl? Like, she's not scared of fucking Patchface, the monster of Dragonstone, potentially. And as naive as it may be to be following him around as he prepares to, as Zach thinks, lead her beneath the oceans to the mer people that Varys swims with regularly, I think is the theory that you follow and subscribe to.
Mm-hmm.
She's always seems to be happy, and she always has that very optimistic outlook on things. She teaches Davos to fucking read. That's pretty fucking cool. Yeah. Like, she's just a fearless little girl. She's the real Baratheon of the fucking castle, man. And she makes sure you know it.
Hell yeah, she does. Shireen's a badass.
Shireen's
like,
hardcore.
How can you not love her? That's why, like, no, she's not getting burned at the stake.
She's getting burned at the stake, I think so. I do. I don't like it. I hate it, and I hate it because I love Shireen. That's why I want to get her in as many times as we can.
All right, we did get some inductees, of course, from you faithful listeners. Our first one comes from across the sea in France, from Julian.
Yeah.
And he says, "Hey fellas, glad I did some reading tonight. That was a nice and slow chapter to enjoy the follow-up of Davos's mindset. I can't wait to listen to you two dazzle about the Patchface song. I have a couple ideas. Let's see if you got the same ones. Yeah, we didn't really go into it, but the Red Wedding is what's foretold. Fool's Blood is the Fool Jingle Bell that will be killed there. King's Blood is Robb's. Blood on the Maiden's Thigh is Rosalind.
Right.
And the chains for the guests are all the Starks that are captured, Karstark. And
chains
the
for
bridegroom is
Edmure getting
himself.
captured because it's... Yeah, he's...
And so, that's... The Red Wedding is essentially where we're at. I was baffled that Davos was taken and thrown to jail at the end of the chapter. I did not remember that from the TV show and can't figure out how Melisandre knew he was coming for her. Still debated, my friend.
I believe in the show as well that this is all... Because this is where things start getting a little wonky with the show to the books, or start. I mean, they've always been kind of wonky, but Edric Storm doesn't exist in the books at all. And so a lot of what happens to him with Mel starts occurring with, like, the Brotherhood and shit, and it happens earlier, and it starts getting really convoluted compared to the books. And yes, you were going to be getting a lot more of this stuff from Davos than you did in the show. Because better. Of his internal... Of course it's better, but yeah.
As for an inductee, Salladhor Saan doesn't really feel like a bad choice. Didn't like him on TV, but he's depicted here as a genuinely okay guy. His new fancy title doesn't really mean much, sure, but he's giving pieces of advice that make total sense. Davos needed rest, sleep, and care to fight the cough, and going at Melisandre sure didn't feel like a good idea reading the end of this one. Anyway, go Davos, and go Shireen. Davos Leharis, Valar Dohaeris. Thank you, Julian.
Yes, so I'm super thrilled that you brought Salladhor Saan in, because that's who I was going to do, but I really wanted to bring
He actually started fucking fist pumping in here, so, like, thank you for making me see that with my own eyes, Julian.
So we also, going up north of where the Brotherhood Without Manners, where the Brotherhood Without Manners, wow, it's been a long time.
Can you get your shit together on this episode?
You're always yelling at me, and it's really affecting my work. Can I say that on air? Is that allowed? We got some missives from our friend Corey at the Dreadfort. He says, "Hey, Dragon Knights. Jesus Christ, someone get this man some Buckleys. Such a depressing... What do you got?"
Buckley's is a cough medicine.
Oh, okay. Such a depressing chapter. My heart truly goes out for Davos. After weeks out at sea, he finally witnesses the true aftermath, the empty harbor and streets. The little hope remaining that his sons are still alive is gone. His fellow brothers are also dead, and also finding out his king is going down the rabbit hole with Melisandre. And the icing on the cake, getting tossed into the fucking dungeon. He didn't say fucking, I did. I threw that in for some fucking spice. Sorry, didn't mean to try and edit there on you, Corey. I truly believe his loyalty to Stannis will eventually get him killed.
Oof.
My inductee goes to Robert Baratheon. Even though he was busy ruling, or drinking and whoring, the Seven Kingdoms, he still managed to spend quality time with his bastard. Cheers, Corey from the Dreadfort. At least one of them, anyway.
I brought up the argument that it breaks my heart, but you're right. Edric Storm does have a lot more privilege than any other bastard, because most bastards don't get that, at least even, like, a yearly visit from their parents.
He was kind of one of Robert's first, I believe.
Yeah, he's
and so I feel
one of
like
the favored.
He's still in that mindset with Ned, with that honorable, like, oh, I should take care of this bastard in some way, and, like, I can't, Cersei won't let me have him here, so I'll hang out with Renly out there.
Right, and then you look at one like Gendry, who, he grew up in Flea Bottom just as an armorer's apprentice.
Just a bastard, yep. So we also did get a backlog, because she was busy with life, so she got us some older inductees for a couple chapters.
Well, I'm going to read her Davos 2
we'll
first.
hit the Davos 2 one first.
She says, this is from Karen, not just she. Davos 2. About Mel and Stannis, she has broken him as a man breaks a horse. She would ride him to power if she could, and for this she gave my sons to the fire. I will cut the living heart, does she even have one, from her breast, and see how it looks in the fire. Having just finished dance, what he thinks about Stannis and Mel, it is true. She broke Stannis, and so completely, and they both fully believe he is Azor Ahai reborn. Rolls eyes. We get our introduction to Edric Storm, and just shows how obvious it is that Joffrey, Marcella, Tommen are not Robert's kids. Inductee, Shireen. Davos is so full of doom and gloom, but she makes him smile. You make me smile. And moving on, right along, she says for Bran 1, Meera.
Which we read last chapter.
Yes. Meera. Bran is crushing hard, and why not? She's a badass who can hunt and catch food. She doesn't make Bran feel bad about being broken, and she listens to little grandfather and respects his green sight. That's actually a really good one. Meera is such an underappreciated character.
She's such a badass.
And for Dany 1, Karen says, Ew, Jorah.
Ew, Jorah. Fuck Jorah.
Inductee, Illyrio, because he gave Dany her eggs and sent her strong Belwas heart, who always makes me laugh, and of course, Barry the Bold. Illyrio may have, definitely has, shady motives with young Griff and all, but he still helps a girl out when she needs it, and I'm thankful for dragons.
Even if she ninjas that shit.
I'm thankful for dragons, too.
Yeah, as do I.
And we did also get a late one from Sarah.
Oh, at the last fucking second? What?
And Sarah, no, this was a couple days ago.
Oh, my bad. Never
Yeah.
mind.
And Sarah says, hello, brothers. Great start to season 3. Can't wait to hear your new format and hope you'll invite again the author of The Great Castles of Westeros, as I'm really enjoying his book. It is a great read. Indeed. I'm a couple episodes behind, but I hope you'll accept this anyway. I'd like to induct Dany's highly responsive nipples during her leisure cruise with mandatory creep. More about responsive nipples in Paperback from Hell. Grab it if you can. Really enjoyable read, and Mr. Martin is mentioned as well. On a more serious note, I hate seeing Dany go from one abuser to the next. Roast them all, Dany. Your dragons are hungry. Cheers, Sarah.
Awesome. Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah.
And thank you, Karen, and
thank
Corey,
you,
Julian,
everybody.
And
Holy
yes.
hell, you guys. We love the response.
Yeah.
We love all the chatter. We love Davos.
If you would like to induct your inductee, give us your inductee.
Induct your inductee.
And the inductees being just a character, a person, a moment, something from the chapter that you found exemplary in some way, entertaining in some way, or fun in some fucking way. That's all it really takes. You can write to us at our email, withoutmannersbrotherhood@gmail.com. I can be reached on Twitter at mannerswithout. That's the Instagram as well. Zach is on Twitter at Carnark, at Carstark92.
I'm not a narc, I promise.
He's not a narc.
You guys got any drugs, fellow kids?
No, don't tell him that. Don't answer that because he'll tell on you. We also have a Facebook, facebook.com/Brotherhood Podcast, and a Patreon that can get you access to the private Facebook group. Remember, there's a pandemic, so stay social distanced. The Patreon is patreon.com/withoutmanners. And I just thought it was important to mention.
Right.
Wear masks, Yeah,
and no, America's still fucking that up, so good job on us.
The election is occurring,
Vote.
Vote. And
vote.
Right.
Join us next episode for Jamie 2.
Jamie 2. So as we're approaching the third point of view chapters, that's when we have some guests preparing to arrive.
For the beefy
so
stuff,
the good chunkier
bits.
chapters. So get ready for that. And that means that we'll be announcing them once we have those dates locked in and scheduled for recording.
Mm-hmm.
So prepare for those announcements.
Thank you all for writing in. Thank you for listening. Catch us on the next one.
Valor to Harris.
Peace!